Aries, welcome to the realm of astrology. This is a long-term energy horoscope for you. In this video, I'm going to talk about the energies that can stay with you for years on end. Things like where Saturn is and what that means for you, Neptune, Uranus, all the longer term energies. And the reason I did this video is because sometimes we feel like certain themes in our lives are just not going away or they're not changing, and that's because of these outer planets. So in this video, my goal is to give you a basic overview of those energies in your chart. Now, before we begin, Aries, I would request you to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you can be notified every time I post a video. I also do daily video horoscopes, weekly video horoscopes, and monthly sun rising sign horoscopes that you can watch all on my YouTube channel. And now let's talk about the energies. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is Saturn. All right. Saturn for you is in your 11th house right now. Now, Saturn is a planet of hard work, of decisions, of discipline. It can bring with it delays and disappointments as well. And wherever Saturn is transiting in your chart, or in anybody's chart rather, it asks us to work hard. And with Saturn, one can feel stuck. It can feel like I'm working so hard, I'm putting in so much effort. Why am I not getting the results? And that brings me to my next point. The results that come with Saturn, the rewards that come with Saturn, usually come later. So it's not an immediate work hard, get the results sort of energy. It's work hard, work harder, keep working hard, and eventually you'll see some results. And a Saturn transit, depending on your chart, depending on the house, can feel quite challenging as well. So that's the basic energy. But what does it want from us? It wants us to work hard, be disciplined, and put things in order connected to the house that it's transiting. So for you, Aries, right now it's in your 11th house, as you can see on the chart, and it's been in your 11th house from December of 2020 properly. Okay, that's when it entered the sign of Aquarius for good. Before that, it moved back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. So let's assume December 2020 is the starting point. And it will be in your 11th house till 2023 March. Okay, now before we move forward, this chart is for an Aries rising. I would recommend watching your rising sign and then your sun sign. And also, if you are, say, an N degree Aries, 29-degree Aries rising, you might just resonate more with the Taurus reading. All right, and if you are someone with really large houses, really small houses, then that can throw this reading off because it'll change where these outer planets are, which houses. So the best way is to know where the outer planets are for you in your chart. Okay? But this will give you a basic idea for an Aries rising. Now, Saturn is in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of acquaintances, the groups that you belong to, the social circle, not your close friends, but say the book club or business organization that you're a part of, things like that. The 11th house is also the house of science, tech, innovation, the future, our hopes, goals, and dreams. It's also the house of the future. I said that. So all these things are 11th house matters. So as Saturn is transiting your 11th house Aries, you will be working on your social circle, the groups that you belong to, your business organizations, perhaps your hopes, goals, and dreams. And if you are someone in the science, tech, innovation sector, then that as well. And this is where the focus of your energy is going to be till 2023 March. So that's where Saturn is now. But before this, now, another thing I want to mention, there are certain houses that we feel more intensely than others. Of course, it depends on your personal chart. If you have too many planets in the 11th house, then you will feel that energy very intensely. But what I mean is this. Saturn was in your 10th house between 2017 December to 2020 December, 3 years. And in your 10th house is the house of business and career. So as Saturn moved through that house, it asked you to work hard and change things up, put in order anything connected to your business and career, right? So that was the energy. And this house, since it's our business, it's very, very, it feels more intense than, say, another house that might be more subconscious or more subtle. This is one of the important houses. So this transit would have felt intense. And Saturn, from 2017 December to 2020 December, it was in your 10th house, asking you to work towards your career, but it was opposing your house of family, foundation, roots, all those things. So there could have been profound changes in your home, in your family life, in your foundation, in your deepest emotions as well. Okay? So that's what Saturn did from 2017 December to 2020 December. So now you know what Saturn will do till 2023. Now let's talk a little bit more about Saturn, because Saturn is very important right now. And it is important because a lot of two important cycles started in 2020 connected to Saturn, right? Let's talk about that. The first of those is the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction that happened in December of 2020. And it happened at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So look at 0 degrees of your chart. Now for this chart, I'm going to say 0 degrees lies in the 11th house. So there was a new beginning connected to your social circle, the groups that you belong to, your hopes, goals, and dreams, science, tech, the future, all those things. And I forgot to mention the 11th house is also the house of your unique self. It's ruled by Aquarius, who you truly are, your authentic self. So perhaps in that area as well. And this new beginning that happened in December will stay with you for 20 years. And right now till 2023, we are going to build that new beginning. And for you, that happened in December of 2020 in your 11th house. The second thing I want to mention about Saturn is the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Saturn and Pluto, they met up in Jan of 2020. So about a year and a half ago. And these planets met up after 38 years. And they ended a cycle of 38 years in Jan of 2020 and started a new one. And this new cycle has changed our reality in a very profound way. And for you, Aries, that happened in your 10th house. 22 degrees of Capricorn is where it happened. So look at 22 degrees of Aquarius in your chart, but in this chart, it lies in your 10th house. So there was a profound change in your business and career in Jan of 2020. And we are still understanding that. We are still building that. So that's another important thing. And this new cycle of Saturn and Pluto that I just spoke about will stay with us till 2053. Now, the third important thing about Saturn is the Saturn-Uranus square, 90-degree angle. Now, the Saturn-Uranus square is an energy we are feeling after 21 years. So it's rare, and it's asking us to change. It's asking us to embrace our authentic self, embrace our unique self, embrace the new, and get rid of the old. And for you, Aries, this is being highlighted in your 2nd and your 11th house. So this tug of war between the old and the new will be between your 2nd house and your 11th house, right? Which means that this tug of war between finding the new, getting rid of the old, will highlight areas connected to your social circle, hopes, goals, and dreams, science and tech, who you truly are, 11th house, and your 2nd house, which is money, possessions, material possessions, skills, self-worth, value. So these are the two areas that are being worked on by Saturn and Uranus and will be all of 2021 and even 2022. So we have covered Saturn, right? Now let's talk about the next important energy, and that's Uranus. Now, what does Uranus want? Saturn wants us to work hard, right? And put things in order. What does Uranus want? Uranus wants us to be our authentic self, very plainly put. And for that reason, it can bring things into our life or get rid of things in our life. And that too quite suddenly and unexpectedly. Uranus will be in your 2nd house till 2026, I believe. 7 years it will spend in your 2nd house. That's a long time. So Uranus in the 2nd house will connect you to your authentic self through matters of the 2nd house, which are what? Money, possessions, monetary possessions, finances, self-worth, skills, values. For example, if there is a skill that will help you be your authentic self, Uranus can bring that into your life. If there is a negative emotion you have connected to your self-worth, Uranus can get rid of it. So this is what Uranus will be doing for 7 years in your 2nd house. So that's Uranus done. I want to keep it as concise and brief as possible. So I'll try to move through it quite fast. Now, okay. That's Uranus done, right? Now let's talk about the next important planet, and let's talk about Pluto. Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn since 2008. It will be here for another 2-3 years, and which means it has been in your 10th house since 2008. So, what is Pluto? Pluto is complete transformation. It is a spiritual transformation as well. It is a planet of complete catharsis and rebirth and destruction as well. Now, Pluto works in very subtle subconscious ways. And in your 10th house, Pluto has been transforming your business and career in very subtle ways since 2008. And overlooking your 4th house, this is definitely connected to your family roots, foundations, emotions as well. So that's what Pluto has been doing, transforming at a very subconscious, subtle level, things connected to your business, your career, your home, your family, your foundation, and your roots. And it will continue to do so. And Pluto does not feel easy. The feeling that one gets with Pluto is nothing is really wrong with my immediate life, visible life, but internally there's a storm. Internally, there's a transformation. So it could be that through your business, through your home, Pluto is leading to a lot of internal transformation, internal catharsis, internal rebirth of sorts. And wherever Pluto is, it does not feel very easy. So that's something to be mindful of. And now I will talk about the next important energy, and that is Neptune. Okay. Now, Neptune is in your 12th house. Neptune rules the 12th house. It likes to be there. It has been in the sign of Pisces since 2011 and will be here for a few more years. And your Pisces is your 12th house, as you can see on the chart. Now, Neptune is a dual planet, you can say. Its energy on one hand is very spiritual, very magical, something that connects us with the divine. It's all about meditation and yoga as well. But on the other hand, Neptune is the planet of delusions, confusions, lack of clarity, drugs, addictions, all these sort of things, escapism. And in your 12th house, which is the house of Neptune, this energy is magnified. So since 2011, two things could be happening. You could be getting very, very spiritual, very, very connected to the higher realm, getting very interested in yoga and meditation and all those sorts of things. Anything that connects you to the divine. It's also creativity, poetry, creative writing. All that could be coming about, right? On the other hand, it can lead to a lot of confusion. And since the 12th house is the subconscious mind, it can lead to a lot of subconscious confusion. It can lead to isolation. It can lead to not being able to see things clearly in terms of your subconscious mind. It can also mean a lot of depression, drugs, addictions that might come about. And it will be here for some more time. And the reason I mentioned this energy about Neptune is that, see, energy is there, right? Now, how we manifest it, how it manifests is up to us. It can be the most magical spiritual time, or it can be a time where we feel very isolated and depressed and indulge in escapism and addictions. But to channel that Neptune energy positively, it's best to take up a spiritual practice. It's best to channel that energy in a creative way, so that the negative manifestation of Neptune does not take place. Because in your 12th house in Pisces, Neptune energy is very powerful. And soon, in a few years, when Neptune enters the sign of Aries, well, that's far out in the future, but I will mention it. You will see a profound change in your identity because it's going to cross over your ascendant, a permanent change. Neptune is a slow moving energy. It takes 164 years, I believe, or 162, something like that. 160 approx, to come back to the same spot. So it's a planet that we don't feel hit multiple parts of our chart in a lifetime, right? It stays in a particular area for many years. And that's rare. So when Neptune crosses the ascendant, it's a rare transit. So this will be a change to your identity. And since all these four pillars, I call them, your identity, your emotions and family, who you marry, your business partners, and your um, career, these are the four pillars. It will also change up your career, your business partnerships or marriage, and your deepest emotions in your home. But that's way out in the future. But I just thought I'd mention it. And similarly, before we move on to the other planets, to put things in context, Pluto here takes 248 years to take one circle. So it's a very rare, slow moving energy, and wherever it's hitting your chart, it's a rare thing to go through. And that's why it's a complete transformation, permanent transformation. And Uranus takes 84 years. So that's also a rare energy. For it to come back to this spot, it will take 84 years. So these energies are rare, they're slow, and when they change things, they change them permanently. So that's Neptune also. Oh, and I forgot to mention Saturn. Saturn is a 28 to 30 year cycle. And when it transits a house, as it did from 2017 to 2020, your 10th house, the career changes, the base it's set for the next 28, 30 years. So that's Saturn. And we've covered, I think we've covered Uranus, we've covered Pluto, Saturn, Neptune. Now let's talk about Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is a benefic, it gives blessings. But with Jupiter, we are also asked to learn lessons. So it's not always, it's very positive, it's always, but it also brings with it lessons. Now, Jupiter is a 12-year cycle, it hits the same spot in 12 years almost. And it spends about a year in a sign, which means a year in a house. So for you, Jupiter right now is in your, you can say Pisces is your 12th house, right? So from this year into next year, it will cover your 12th house. So Jupiter will give blessings and lessons to your 12th house in the next 1 year. It will retrograde back into Aries, but let's not talk about that. I'm giving the overviews, right? In your 12th house, it is going to give you blessings and gifts connected to your spirituality, connected to the subconscious mind. And the 12th house is where we close out the past as well. So if you're carrying the past in your heart, as a lot of us do, we all do it, Jupiter might come and help you release it. It is also the house of addictions, drugs, delusions, depression. So Jupiter might come in and help you get over those things if those apply to you, right? So that's what Jupiter in the 12th house will do in the next 1 year. Now, the year after that, Aries, it is going to enter your sign, your first house. And this is a big deal because it's going to cross your ascendant, square your MC, oppose your descendant, and square your IC, right? Now, when Jupiter crosses, it's a once in a 12-year change. So this can be a once in a 12-year change to your identity, to who you are, to your appearances even. It could also be that you start to learn something new, but this may even have a healing effect to your identity, right? And Jupiter will be in the sign of Aries from 2022 to 2023. So those are the two energies. And in your first house, when it transits your first house, Jupiter, you will receive gifts and blessings connected to your identity. Yes, there's going to be a shift. There is going to be a shift when Jupiter crosses your ascendant. And when it enters your first house, you will probably rediscover who you are. Or you might just add to who you are, your identity. The first house is you, your identity, how you present yourself to the world, how you look, everything about that. So that's what Jupiter is going to do from 2022 to 2023. So that's Jupiter. And if you are an Aries sun and all, Jupiter's sun is a very positive moment, once in a 12-year positive moment. That's Jupiter. And the next thing I will talk about are the nodes, right? Now, the nodes are karmic. They bring up karmic events. They bring up um, karma, basically. And they have an 18.5 year cycle. So they hit the same spot in 18.5 years. Now, the North Node is a karmic activator. It's in your third house, right? And it will be till 2022, till the nodes change signs. And in your third house, it is going to activate karmically things connected to your communication, thinking, mind, social media, writing, peer group, immediate environment, all third house things. That's what it is going to be activating. And in your ninth house, the South Node is a karmic it's an activator, but it's a karmic cleanup. So the karma that is pending for the past 18.5 years connected to your belief system, higher education, knowledge, wisdom, foreign travel, it'll start to clean it up. So a lot of karmic stuff can come back from 2001 and 2003. Think of your life back then, because the nodes were in the same position. So things between then might be coming up for review, similar themes, and whatever comes up is karmic. So that's till 2022. Then let's talk about the next transit for the nodes. The nodes will enter the sign of Taurus and the sign of Scorpio, right? And the north node will then be in your second house, and the south node will then be in your eighth house. And in your second house, the north node will karmically activate things connected to second house, right? Money, material possessions, self-worth, values, and skills. And this is again after 18.5 years. So probably between 2003 and 2005, whatever happened back then, if I'm not mistaken. Should be around then, around that time. And your eighth house, the south node is going to come in and karmically clean up matters connected to your eighth house. Investments, intimate relationships, hidden things, taboo things, occult things, regeneration, healing, catharsis, death, rebirth, endings, beginnings, all that stuff. Okay, and that's going to be on till at least 2023, if not 2024. So that's the nodes till 2023. And I think I have covered everything except for Chiron. Now, Chiron is in your sign Aries, which means it's in your first house. And Chiron is an energy that heals us. But the healing that comes with Chiron feels bittersweet. It heals us by wounding us more. You know, with Chiron, the feeling is that used to bother me, not anymore. I'm not ignorant, I'm not indifferent, I'm not numb, I have just healed. That's the energy. And that healing is bittersweet. Oftentimes it feels like it's hurting us, Chiron. It's digging that wound deeper and deeper and deeper, but that's how it heals. It digs that wound so deep that after a point you just say, I'm done. Doesn't bother me anymore. And in your first house, this healing, this bittersweet healing is connected to your identity, to who you are, to how you present yourself. If you're someone in a leadership position, then your leadership skills as well. And Chiron will be here for a few more years. So these are the underlying energies for you, Aries. And I believe the more intense transit for you was between 2017 and 2020, because Capricorn is your house of business and career, and that opposes your house of home, family, foundation, squares your marriage and your business partners, and squares your identity. So that transit of Saturn between 2017 to 2020 would have felt very intense for you, because it was hitting all the pillars in your chart, so to speak. And there could have been changes which I did not mention previously in your identity and your business relationships, marriage as well, because Saturn was squaring these two planets. And 22 degrees of Capricorn with the Saturn Pluto conjunction in Jan happened here, and this squared your house of marriage and business partners, squared your house of identity, opposed your home, family, foundation. So a lot of changes, a lot of intensity. But now in your 11th house, I believe Saturn is not making very, very important aspects as important as it did in between 2017 and 2020. So that's the basic energy for you, Aries. And right now I'm making this video on 26 July 2021. And this year is all about building for the future, laying the foundation, and it is an intense year because Saturn and Uranus are squaring. Two big planets, two heavy energies squaring each other, something we're feeling after 21 years. So that's something to keep in mind. And the reason I made this video is that sometimes it's useful to know what we are going through, so that we can make the most of it. And that was my goal, to help you understand a little bit more as to what you might be going through. And again, this is a very basic overview. It's for 0 degrees of Aries. Your planets might be in different houses. You may have a lot of personal planets that are being conjuncted by, say, Saturn or Pluto. Then that changes the ball game altogether. But the goal of this video is to give a slight overview, a very basic overview on on the energies you might be dealing with on a longer term basis. I hope this helped you. That was my goal for making it. And I will see you in one of my other videos, Aries. Have a great week, month, day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.